Welcome to part 3 of Intro to Programming. In this video, I'm going to cover some different numeric data types and how you can use those numeric data types to perform arithmetic operations. Also, I just realized in the last video, I said numerical data types, and numerical is not a word, so for your knowledge. So looking here at the screen, you see that I have two different integers on here, or two different numeric data types on here, and there's a lot more than just two different numeric data types, but these are probably the two most common that you'll be working with, especially as a beginner. So here you see that I have integer, and that's a 32-bit number, and it ranges anywhere from -2 billion to 2 billion, and those are whole numbers only, so it does not support any decimal places. If you have some type of mathematical operation that evaluates to a decimal number, it'll round down, it also known as truncating the value, and then double, on the other hand, stores up to 15 decimals, so it's a much more accurate number. But as you can see, it takes up more memory. Okay, let's actually see how we can use these. In the last video, you saw that we did this is how you declared a basic string variable, and then doing the same thing with an integer variable is very similar. Int is the keyword to denote it, or to tell the compiler that it's an integer. And we can say num equals 5, and let's actually make another one, num equals 2. And then let's print some stuff out to the console. So CW tab, and then we can say num plus num2. And if you remember from the last video, when I did this with two strings, it was known as string concatenation, and it just combined the words. Well, in this one, if I do it with two different numeric data types, it's not concatenation, it's simply addition. So if we run it, you'll see that it's going to be 7. Yep. So 5 plus 2 is 7. And then it also is the same thing for subtraction. And then we have multiplication as well. And then also division, which is denoted as 1//. If we run the 5 divided by 2, we're going to get 2. Obviously, 5 divided by 2 is not 2, it's 2.5. But remember when I said working with integers, it only stores whole numbers, and it'll truncate the value. So yeah, it would be 2.5, but it truncates it down to 2. If we were working with doubles, on the other hand, I'm going to get rid of that line right there. You'll see that it'll include the decimal place, 2.5, because it's more precise. Now, let's say we have one double and one integer. Well, what do you think it's going to be? It's still going to be 2.5. So even though this is a whole number and this is a decimal, that's because the compiler will scope up at runtime. So basically what that means is if you're working with a more precise value and a less precise value, when you're actually doing these actions, it will scope this less precise value to this higher precise value, if that makes sense. So if that's confusing, I would look into that, because it might throw you off in some of your operations. But anyways, let's go ahead and see how we can work more with these variables here. So I'm going to do a third one, sum equals num plus num2. And then you can probably guess what's stored in this one. Let's go ahead and print out the sum. And it's equal to 7. So I highly recommend after this video that you play around with doing just a bunch of stuff like this, and I think it'll help you get more comfortable with how these variables work, storing numbers. That's it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to cover Boolean data types and also some if conditions. All right, I'll see you over there.